From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Our top story this evening: with near record rainfall, area residents have been reporting multiple issues with flooding.
That's right. Yet another flood advisory was put into effect today until 5:15 p.m. after heavy rainfall began across the interior in the early morning hours. The advisory was for the areas of the Chena River and North Pole. However, residents not even near rivers have been reporting flooding. One North Pole neighborhood reported crawl spaces and basements that were completely inundated with water over the weekend. The Tamarack Woods subdivision had numerous residents pumping almost a foot or more of water from the high water table this past weekend and on into the beginning of the week. Residents there said they didn't realize the water table had gotten so high and remind others to check their homes even if they aren't near the flood advisory areas.
This is definitely an area where you have to be concerned about the water table. We thought the water table was a lot lower. The water table here is very high. We don't live by a slough. We don't live by any body of water that would affect us like this, so this wasn't really a concern of ours. I have never ever dealt with anything like this. Mother Nature is not something that you can control, so when it does happen, it's almost devastating even when it happens minimally, because if you've never dealt with it before, you have no idea where to even start.
Family members of the ex-Alaska State Trooper captain accused of sexual abuse of a minor came out today in support of visitation rights. 76-year-old Warren Tanner was released on $35,000 bail to a third-party custodian earlier this year. Today, family members came to court asking the judge to amend bail conditions so Tanner and his wife, who is his third-party custodian, would be able to visit with their grandchildren. Those visitations were denied by Judge Lyle, who said Tanner remains a physical threat to any young children due to the seriousness of the allegations against him. Family members took to the stand in support of the change, including Tanner's custodian wife, who, when asked by the state prosecutor if her allegiance lies with her husband or grandchildren, said she would choose her husband.
Grandpa were a major part of their life prior to this, and there's a lot of questions of where is Grandma and Grandpa. And due to their age, we haven't gone into details with what's going on. There's just a lot of confusion, and it would give them an ability to spend some time with Grandma and Grandpa and build a few more memories, if you will.
A North Pole man who is facing multiple charges, including the assault of an Alaska State Trooper, pleaded no contest today in Fairbanks District Court. 28-year-old Michael McCoy was arrested for an outstanding warrant, resisting arrest, and disorderly conduct after reportedly breaking a trooper's hand on Sunday. According to an affidavit, McCoy was intoxicated and passed out in front of the Badger Baptist Church in North Pole and then attacked the trooper when he attempted to wake McCoy. Troopers say once he was subdued, they found drugs and drug paraphernalia on the suspect. McCoy could be facing up to a year for each charge filed against him. Sentencing for McCoy will be held on Wednesday.
Not guilty pleas today for a Palmer man who led Alaska State Troopers on a chase over the weekend. According to troopers, 29-year-old Houston Fontaine was stopped in North Pole after they received a report of a suspicious vehicle. Fontaine and his passenger then fled the scene in their automobile, later bolting from the vehicle on foot. Troopers enlisted the help of the AST helicopter to locate Fontaine, who resisted arrest but was subdued. Bail for Fontaine was set today at $5,000.
All right, when we come back, a meeting is slated for tomorrow regarding the Interior Energy Project.
Also, the University of Alaska Fairbanks is facing huge budget shortfalls. Those stories are next. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Fbx Evening News. A community meeting on the Interior Energy Project will be held tomorrow evening at 5:30 in the Westmark Fairbanks Hotel. It is sponsored by the Fairbanks Economic Development Corporation Energy for All Alaska Task Force. A comprehensive update from ADA and MWH Global regarding progress on the North Slope plant facility will be offered, along with presentations from Fairbanks Natural Gas and the Interior Gas Utility. The Interior Energy Project includes the components of developing a North Slope facility capable of serving half to three-quarters of estimated residential and commercial heating needs for customers in interior Alaska. Governor Sean Parnell urged people to attend the meeting.
They're going to hear things like the state has finished acquisition of a pad for construction of a liquefaction facility on the North Slope. We have completed a loan package for the interior gas utility, the IGU. We have Fairbanks Natural Gas putting pipe in the ground now. We still have lots of work to do, but making some good progress.
The University of Alaska Fairbanks has slashed spending for the upcoming fiscal year. Officials say short-term reductions could cost the university about 50 jobs, and long-term reductions could limit class choices. The Chancellor's cabinet released a list of the cuts. Before these changes, the university was facing a budget shortfall of nearly $12 to $14 million. Officials say higher operating costs and fewer state dollars created the largest funding gap in a decade.
This is the biggest hit. The first time that the state has actually said we're going to have an unallocated reduction of $8 million in the last 12 to 14 years, so very, very significant and harder hit, compounded by low tuition increases and a much tighter research environment.
Fairbanks welcomed the first international piano e-competition ever to come to Alaska. Over the process of 10 days, 24 elite musicians are competing for awards and professional performance opportunities. Katie Looper has more in this report.
24 accomplished piano players from all over the world, ranging from 19 to 32 years old, were selected by a jury of 9 internationally renowned pianists.
About a year and a half ago, Edouard Zilberkant came to President Gamble and to me, suggesting that we take on this competition. He had wanted for a long time to have some form of competition here in Fairbanks, and when he talked with Alexander Brzezinski about the idea of doing a competition to try to get some pointers, Alexander said, why don't we just move the e-competition to Fairbanks?
I knew that I want to eventually be able to conduct the competition from any place in the world, but I couldn't have thought up a better place than Fairbanks, really. I'm completely thrilled being here, and I think it is the beginning of a great tradition.
The competition is separated into 4 qualifying rounds. Pianists will be competing for up to $65,000 in prizes.
What Fairbanks audience will be able to hear and see is the best pianists of the young generations up to age 32, who are basically on a career path to have an incredible career, and this is a launching pad for them. So we have a choice to basically sit at the doorstep of greatness to see who are these next generation of great pianists.
The E in Piano E competition refers to the advanced technology of the Yamaha Disclavier pianos, 21st century player pianos that can transmit a performance to other Disclaviers around the world. This competition is unique because an expected 500,000 people will be able to watch the concerts online. Also, individuals in universities with Disclaviers can tune in and listen to the performance through their own piano.
The technology of reproducing instruments, recording and reproducing instruments, is not new. There was a version of it, you may know it, it's piano rolls in the player pianos. This is light years ahead of what those pianos could do. In essence, they do the same thing, they record and they reproduce. But the precision and the speed and the convenience of how it's done, of course, increased millionfold. I would be very confident in saying that.
Performances are live in the Davis Concert Hall until July 12th or streamable online. The finalists will perform with the Fairbanks Symphony Orchestra on July 10th and 11th. This is Katie Looper reporting.
I can play Fior Elise.
Yeah, I can play chopsticks pretty good. Ding, 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 ding.
I could play basketball.
Very good. But that's not what you really want to talk about today. You want to talk about some stuff on the ice.
Yes, a number of local, hockey players with ties in the interior. They're going to be in front of hockey players and coaches this week for camps. So we're going to see who's going where, plus a recap of the holiday weekend sports events. So stay with us for sports. Hello, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here in the sports seat for you this evening with your weekend recap. Now, this is a big week for a number of hockey players that have connections to the interior. There will be an NHL development camps this week. UAF's Colton Parayko will be in the St. Louis Blues camp. He will be one of just 4 college players there. Parayko was picked 86 overall in the 2012 NHL draft by the Blues. He was last year's WCHA Defensive Player of the Year with 26 points, and his 2.65 blocks per game were second in all of Division I hockey. Rising sophomore and right winger Marcus Bassar will be in the Washington Capitals camp. He was WCHA All-Rookie last season with 26 points, and he'll join North Pole's Phoenix Copley at that camp. Copley signed with the Caps after 2 seasons at Michigan Tech. He went 18, 20, and 7 as a Husky. Future defenseman Nicholas Koberstein will be at the Montreal Canadiens camp. He was selected in the 5th round of this year's draft by Montreal. He will be with UAF in 2015-2016. And Stephon Williams of Lathrop High School will be in the New York Islanders camp. 2012-2013 WCHA Rookie of the Year was a 4th-round Islanders pick in 2013. And also of note, former Ice Dog Patrick Newell will be in the Stanley Cup champion LA Kings development camp. Newell played in 42 games in the 2012-2013 season for the Ice Dogs before going to the Indiana Ice of the USHL. He's committed to St. Cloud State as well. The Alaska Gold Panthers had some success this weekend, but they can't seem to escape the rain. Saturday, they ran away with a 14-5 win over the Chinooks to win the best-of-3 series 2-1 after splitting a doubleheader on July 4th. Cody Nolf and Bon Bozo Bazoyan both hit home runs in the 14-5 win. Bazoyan went 4 for 6 with 4 RBIs and 3 runs scored. Ryan Clark, he was 4 for 4 with 3 runs, and Tanner Pinkston had 4 RBIs as well. Big day for them. Tyler McGill, the newest pitcher to Alaska's staff, got the win, allowing 1 earned in 7 innings with 4 strikeouts. Now, Sunday, a doubleheader with the Matsu Miners was on the schedule, but it was rained out. Alaska was up 3-1 before the game was called in Game 1. The makeup dates are July 22nd and the 23rd. After going 3-1 on their road trip, the Gold Panthers have tonight off, but will start an important five-game series with the Kenai Peninsula Oilers. We'll break all that down in tomorrow's Sportscast. And the Gold Panthers may have been on the road, but there was still some baseball in Fairbanks this weekend. In American Legion baseball action, the Alaska Wild hosted the reigning Alaska Legion state champion Chugiak Post 33 team. Chugiak showed why they were the champs, sweeping the Wild on Saturday, including a comeback in Game 1. Jason Donald went 2 for 4 from the dish with a sac fly RBI for Alaska. The Wild were up 6-1, but lost some control from the mound late. Brandon Neal went 4 for 5, 2 runs scored and 4 RBIs, including a back-breaking bases-clearing double after Chugiak gained the lead on Wild pitches. Chugiak came back to win Game 1 15-8 and got the decisive second game 13-9. The Wild had 10 errors by the end of 2 games. Now, Matt Fitzpatrick, he went 3 for 4 with 3 runs and an RBI in Game 2 to lead the Wild. One local basketball product and her team are blowing out the competition overseas. Former West Valley guard and Gallaudet University player Lajan Ashmore and Team USA's women's basketball team are 3-0 in the World Deaf Basketball Championships. Today, they beat Turkey by 40 in a 63-23 win. They opened the tournament on July 4th with a 60-31 victory over Lithuania and beat Mexico on Sunday 83-24. The women's team is outscoring opponents 206-78. They're even on par with the men's team, who are outscoring opponents 204-88, and they have a 2-0 record. Both the men's and women's teams will face Russia tomorrow. And we wrap up this sportscast with a recap of the Independence Weekend running events on the 4th of July and the 29th Independence Day run at Pioneer Park. Miko Sayer, the West Valley cross-country product, who is now a cyclist for Western Washington University's club team, he crossed the finish line in 17 minutes, 54 seconds. Tommy Dayhill at age 48. He made his move in the back end of that 5K to take second in 18:58, and Andrew Bishop was third in 19:23. Fifth overall and the first woman to finish in that race was Melissa Lewis once again in 2016. And then on Saturday in North Pole was the Jingle Bell Run Walk 5K in support of the Arthritis Foundation. Now, unofficially, Lathrop cross-country runner Enoch Porter came in first, finishing in 18:50, but he didn't have a bib, so hometown favorite Christy Smits, the former UAA runner, not only defends her Jingle Bell women's title, but is this year's official winner in 1913. Trent Sutton was the first official man to finish in 19 minutes and 22 seconds. And that will wrap up sports tonight. Your full weather forecast is coming up next with Mike Schultz. As always, we'll catch you next time.
Hey everyone, welcome back into the Fairbanks Evening News. Mike Schultz with you once again, taking a look at the weather. Hope you had yourself a good July 4th weekend. Really hot yesterday, 86 degrees, and overnight some fireworks from Mother Nature in the form of a thunderstorm and some fairly healthy rainfall too. We'll talk more weather in just a little bit. Our photograph for tonight, a really dynamic photograph sent in by Randy Fletcher. Got a sunset near Delta Junction. As you can see here, beautiful colors once again, and very vivid on the colors there. As always, if you have a photograph you want to share with us, by all means send it to photos@ktvf11.com. Out at the airport right now, 68 degrees after a high of 70. The low last night 57, record high 91 in 1923, down to 37 in 1924. Sunrise and sunset 20 hours and 51 minutes of daylight. That's a loss of about 6 minutes from yesterday. And as far as our satellite and radar, once again, you can see we're looking at a lot of clouds moving across the interior, but most of it's spreading out across the Fairbanks area, moving away, and then again, a little activity moving over southeast Alaska and across the Anchorage Bowl too. What's going on across the rest of the state? Well, once again, we have showers over the southeastern sections around Juneau, some rain falling at Kodiak Island, cloudy skies in the Anchorage Bowl. Up and down the west coast, cloudy skies for the most part. A little fog around Barrow, and 81 degrees today in Fort Yukon. They didn't have the cloud cover we did. Lower 48 weather, more thunderstorms rumbling across the Midwest and the Central Plains, and some of these are very powerful and very strong. Would not be surprised to see possible hail and very strong winds, maybe even a tornado or two being reported in that storm system. And the overall outlook for tonight and tomorrow, again, is typical July warmth this time of year over the deep south, and that's going to continue. The long-range outlook calling for more storms across the Midwest into the Great Lakes over the eastern half of the country, but still quite hot and dry over the western half of the country. Well, back to Alaska for tomorrow. Here's what it looks like in the northern sections. Cloudy skies at Barrow and Nome. A few isolated thunderstorms in the Fort Yukon area. Here in the interior, once again, we'll have mainly scattered showers or thunderstorms possible in the afternoon hours for Fairbanks, Healy, and Delta Junction. And over the southeastern sections, rain is in the forecast for Juneau and also for Ketchikan, with 60 degrees for the high at Ketchikan. Over the southwest part of the state, rain likely for Cold Bay and also at Kodiak Island, and rain will become showers in the Bethel area. And if you're heading on down to the Anchorage Bowl, here's what it looks like. Again, partly cloudy skies in Valdez and Homer, but sunshine expected in the Anchorage Bowl. All right, here's our forecast for tonight, and it's all not too bad. Again, we're looking at basically most of the showers are out of the picture right now. 57 degrees for the overnight low. Tomorrow's forecast, again, 72 degrees with scattered showers and possible thunderstorms in the forecast. And the 5-day outlook, we're looking at those showers off and on through at least Wednesday, Thursday, into Friday. Saturday and Sunday don't look too bad. Temperatures, again, in the low to mid 70s. A little cooler by Friday, but then warming back up again for the weekend, and the weekend looks pretty nice. Not nearly as hot as it was yesterday. That 86 degrees yesterday, and I felt it. I was on the golf course yesterday, and it was really, really hot.
So, but the question is, did any of you wake up at 4 o'clock this morning with that crazy rain?
Yeah,
because I woke up scared to death.
There was thunder. There was a big clap of thunder, too.
Yeah, I mean, it just sounded so heavy. I was just thinking,
it was coming down pretty good range. I think we got to about 37/100ths of an inch at the airport, so that's a pretty healthy rainfall. Adds to the rivers, so the rivers will probably rise once again.
Or, as we saw earlier in the newscast, the groundwater table is so high in some places, you don't even have to be by any body of water.
Yep. It can't take much more, that's for sure.
Is this like one of the wettest springs we've had in a while?
Yeah, by far. Yeah, absolutely. July is just about eclipsing the normal July rainfall total, so we're setting lots of records this summer.
And then I had some friends who went kayaking over the weekend, and they had to bend all the way back to even get under the bridge.
Oh, really? Yeah, those bridges are
so really be careful
in play, by all means.
Okay, thanks, Mike. That'll wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. We are glad you could have joined us.
Sorry, that was funny. Right. Tonight on NBC Nightly News, immigrant kids flee gang bullets for freedom at the border. That is coming up next with Brian Williams.
You can join us here 6 days a week at 6 and 11 or online anytime at webcenter11.com.
And speaking of the river, we're going to leave you with some more shots of the river, Chena River, really, really high. From all of us here at the News Center, have a good night. See you back here at 11.
You like to send me back or something?